All right, so this is Trump and G. Of course, I'm the Shock Exchange, and this is Nebraska exposes Colorado and Coach Prime. I'm a big fan of Deion Sanders, followed his career since he was at Florida State. Um, Big fan of Colorado. I mean, they are Black America's team. I watched every game they played this year and last year too. So I was eagerly looking forward to the Nebraska game because they beat Nebraska last year, and they handled North Dakota State, which was a pretty good team, FBS team, and they handled them, and they showed that last year wasn't a fluke. And I always thought that if they could even go 6-6 this year, go 500, it would be a good season for Colorado, given when they started. I'm not sure there would be a good season in Deion's mind, Deion Sanders' mind, Coach Prime, but we'll see. They got dominated by Nebraska Saturday, and Nebraska was ready for them. And I think a lot of it was Colorado's own making. The play calling was terrible on offense. I mean, it was the same old. Pass. And they're very predictable at this point. Probably the most predictable team in college football. I'm gonna share some of the post-game press conference from Coach Prime. This is what he had to say.
Tough game for us. Came out on the short end of the stick, obviously. Starting out, felt good about matchups. We felt good about the competition. We felt good about what we brought to the table today. Game started. Usually we always start out positive. We started, I think the first ball was deflected. The second ball, we didn't bring that in, and it just was just not a rhythm. Then we came out and Shador did something very uncharacteristic of himself. Never makes a bad decision, especially in that part of the field, which they got to pick six. After that, we were just trying to play catch up. Defense surrendered some things early, but I'm really, really pleased with the way they played in the second half. It seemed like we were a team in the second half. Defensively, we just got to get it going earlier. But overall, certainly not happy with the outcome, but the positive things, the way we competed in the second half, we had no give up, no quit in us whatsoever. We know we got to do a better job offensively on protection, as well as trying to figure out how to establish a run game and be consistent with that.
Do you know the U.S. solar companies?
Okay, so it's the same old with the press conference with Coach Prime. He said a mouthful. He said that we need to be more consistent with the pass blocking, and they need to develop a run game. It's almost as if this is like a mystery. This isn't. They throw the ball about 90% of the possession of plays. They throw the ball 90% of the time, and they run the ball about 10% of the time. And I don't have the stats in front of me because ESPN's website seemed like it's messing up over the past couple of days. But anyway, if you take out the rushes from Shador, they probably ran the ball about 10% of the time and threw the ball 90% of the time. Some of the rushing plays for Shador was he really meant to pass. He either got sacked or he tried to run away from the defense. They were design passes. He talks about we need to do a better job of passing. They're not that good of a team. That offensive line isn't that good to be that predictable. Just that simple. They're too predictable. An offensive line isn't good enough to pass block for 40, 45 plays, I don't think. They're not that good. They're too predictable. They throw the ball about 90% of the time. If the defense knows you're going to throw the ball, right, and they can pin their ears back and chase the quarterback, you're basically you're putting the offensive line behind the eight ball. There aren't too many teams that are going to play in that conference: Nebraska, Arizona State, Kansas State, Utah, where your offensive line is just more dominant than other teams' defensive line. because they're still building the team. And they built the team through the transfer portal. They got some good players. They had one of the number one players in the country coming out of IMG out of DC. He played for St. John's. I can't think of his name. I think his name is Jordan. He played for St. John's out of DC before he went to IMG. Probably one of the best offensive linemen, if not the best offensive lineman in the country coming out of high school. But you're putting the team behind the eight ball if the defense knows what you're going to do. So, for instance, if they're going to throw the ball 90% of the time, they threw the ball about 90% of the time. This game and also last game against North Dakota State. If they run the ball, it's probably a 95% chance they're going to throw the ball in the next play. They run the ball twice. The very next play is probably a 99.9% chance they're going to throw the ball. I know this from watching the last 2 seasons at Florida State, at Colorado. I don't think I remember them running the ball 3 times in a row in 2 years. That's how predictable Colorado is. And you're putting the offensive line behind the eight ball because the defense knows what the play is before you even run the play. He said then establish a running game. You can't establish a running game if you don't call running plays. And so I'm not the coach. I'm not trying to pretend I'm Deion Sanders. But the next game, prove it. Run the ball. The first 2 possessions, run the ball on first down and second down. Every possession. The first 2 possessions. Run the ball on first down and second down. Try that. See what happens. Because what you're doing now is not working because even when you do win games, you're getting the quarterback hit too much. Shedeur is probably one of the best quarterbacks in the country, if not the best. Big, strong guy, which may not play into his favor because he can stand there and take those hits, but he's getting hit too much. Even when he's not getting sacked, he's getting hit. So your quarterback's getting hit too much. That was evident from last year. But anyway, again, they're way too predictable. They're not that good enough to be. No team is good enough to be that predictable. We're gonna throw the ball 90. If we have 100 possessions, we're gonna throw the ball 90 times. You're not that good enough. You're not that good to be that predictable. Offensive line's not that good. No offensive line. NFL, college, that good to be predictable. They rely too much on big plays. So if they have to matriculate the ball down the field every possession, I think it's a tougher game for Colorado. And Nebraska didn't let them make a lot of big plays. They took away the big plays to number 12 and also the number 10. They have some very great wide receivers. They're probably better at skill position, as good at the skill position quarterback and the wide receiver than anybody in the country. But Nebraska took away those big plays, which hurt Colorado. And at this point, it's just almost like the play calling is unserious. I mean, you can't throw the ball 9 times a game or 90% of the time against a good team, and they know what's coming. And the last game when they played North Dakota State, at the press conference, Deion said, we took what the defense gave us. When asked why you throw the ball so much, we took what the defense gave us. Apparently, every defense gives them the pass play because they pass the ball all the time against every team. So apparently that's always what the defense gives them. Makes me think that if Shedeur or Shallow was a running back, Colorado would run the ball probably 65, 75% of the time. That's what it seems like. But because his son's a quarterback, he's going to throw the ball all the time. And it seems unserious at this point. I'm not trying to be overly critical because, what Deion's done has been miraculous. They had a phenomenal season last year. I think when they go 6-6 this year, it'll be a great season. I'd like to see them win every game, actually, but they need more balance. And so, for instance, at one point when Nebraska had 40 possessions, 40 plays, they had 20 run plays and 20 pass plays. So they had balance, and they're keeping the defense on the field too long. The defense can't be out there all day. Because at some point they're going to break, and they broke. Nebraska broke Colorado's defense, or maybe the offensive line. The offense broke Colorado's defense, or the poor play calling broke Colorado's defense because they were out there way too long. You can't expect the defense to be out there guarding the run, play action, pass plays. And, Nebraska's opened up the playbook. Running plays, play action, passes to the tight end, passes to the wide outs. trick plays, so on and so forth. So they got exposed. And Colorado, if they want to be taken seriously, they have to run the ball. Don't just talk about running the ball. Hand the ball off. Next game, just hand the ball off first down and second down. The first 2 possessions. See what happens. So that's basically it. Nebraska exposes Colorado and Coach Prime. Thank you for listening. Thank you.